Hello and welcome to GPTV on Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday, you are hearing correctly. The Wednesday, the 27th of September. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer. All those people who are worried about getting it, maybe it's just not happening anymore. It is a bit late today or this week, but we'll be back on the regular Tuesday run as of next week, Phil.
We've got all of these holidays, school holidays, religious holidays, football holidays. It's just thrown things out of kilter.
Yeah, a little bit.
Don't shoot us, of course, for the fact that we're one day late, because it's just things, your neural pathways, Gary. I've been reading a book about neural pathways, about how once something becomes a habit, we just find it difficult to change.
Yes.
So look at this, viewers, as not us being late with GPTV. Look at this as us helping you challenge your neural pathways.
Life just gets in the way sometimes, doesn't it, Phil, of the best plans? It just happens to get in the way sometimes, but that's how it is.
This neural pathways is really fascinating because it challenges your brains when you're trying to activate against your traditional neural pathways.
Well, it helped me get the quaddie on Saturday.
Just a little thing, right?
Okay.
What hand do you use to brush your teeth?
I use my right hand.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
Try using your left hand.
Why?
What hand do you use when you shave?
I use my right hand.
Okay. Try using your left hand.
Why? I don't have
because
to.
Because
it's not your business what I do with my teeth and my face.
Well, the point, Gary, is that the little things.
Why don't you mind your own business?
Little changes will help your brain stay fresh. So this is the Brain Stay Fresh edition.
Well, I'm doing words with friends,
Well, that's a good
first
thing.
thing in the morning.
That's a good thing.
Yeah,
having said that, interesting. Sudoku. People talk about Sudoku. Great for your brain.
I don't talk to people about Sudoku at all.
Once again, you've been doing Sudoku time, day in, day out. That is establishing a neural pathway, which ultimately is better than not doing it, but it's important to try things differently. And I'll tell you one thing, Gary, I always come into...
Can I go and have a cup of tea and just come back?
I know this is fascinating. But
fascinating for who?
I drive into my garage by driving down the driveway.
That's fascinating.
Right? No, but I tried
where would I have been without this? Yeah.
Reversing down the driveway.
Yeah.
It's completely does your head in when you try to do the same thing that you do, but you do it differently.
Well, then just don't try to do the same thing differently. Just keep doing the same thing. It's been working all right.
Could be a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, we went on that little bit of a rant, Phil, but we didn't talk about the footy. And of course, unfortunately, and I think, we talked about this last week.
This was a decoy. Neural Pathways was a decoy for not having to talk about Carlton Army.
Carlton, the first quarter, we were celebrating, and the drinks were out. We were booking, trying to find ways to get to the grand final. And by half time, we thought, maybe we don't need to worry.
I'd say by about 10 minutes into the second quarter.
Yeah, it was a bit like that. But anyway, look, Carlton were brave. They put it in there. They were in the finals for long. For the first time, we knocked out Melbourne. We had some fun doing that. But look, good luck to Brisbane and Collingwood. It's very hard to know who to barrack for because, as a Carlton supporter and probably Melbourne, your natural thing is to hate Collingwood. You have to hate Collingwood because they are good, and of course they're the arch enemy. But then you don't really want to be unfaithful to Victoria either. Because
I think get behind Collingwood. Look,
probably
let's face it. Queensland. They've got the weather.
Yes.
They've got the beaches.
Yes.
They've got
the meter maids.
Got rising immigration.
They still have meter maids?
They've got, possibly. They've got everything. Queensland these days has got everything going for it.
Is it wrong to like meter maids?
It is politically incorrect, Gary, to even talk about them anymore.
About that. Okay.
So get behind Collingwood. Yep. Victorians get behind Collingwood. In fact, the whole of Australia should get behind Collingwood because, let's face it, Queensland is overindulged for life's most beautiful things. Do you think
young people would know what the meter maids in the Gold Coast were?
No, Gary, let's leave it behind.
Let's leave it behind. Well, I can't really cheer on Collingwood, so I've got to have to go for Brisbane, Phil. I'm going to have to go for there because as the arch enemy and as someone who's catching up to Carlton's score of flags and grand finals, I've got to see if we can keep them back.
Shout out to Lachie Neale for winning the Brownlow. That was actually, the Brownlow vote is normally the most boring thing on the planet.
Yep.
But last night's Brownlow vote was fantastic. Yes. It was compelling viewing and was decided in the last round, which is quite extraordinary.
Yeah, I was there last night, Phil.
What, you were at the Brownlow vote?
No, I was at Crown. I saw a few Brownlow people there. Well, I should say the night before last, shouldn't I? Don't want to give away the recording time for the show. But lots of people running around there, Phil, and people make a big effort. It's a big deal, the Brownlow. Anyway, we're getting off track because people do tune in sometimes,
Gary,
to know about real estate.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Sorry, Irene, for interrupting Gary. But I think last weekend for us was winning the Brownlow.
Yeah. Well, I think it was winning the grand final.
Well,
really,
absolutely, because viewers, we had 25 auctions last weekend, and that is a phenomenal number of auctions for any agency across Australia. In fact, I'd probably say, as an agency, we probably did more auctions than just about everybody in Australia. 25, and we sold how many out of 25, Gary?
Phil, maths was never our strength at school.
No.
But I'm pretty sure that 100% means we sold 25 out of 25.
25 out of 25.
Let's put up some boast music now, because that is
Industry
big boast
average
loud.
was 67, 68%.
No, I can tell you, Phil,
Well,
Domain report 66, REA 69.
which
Put
is
the
why I
towers
said
up.
67, 68.
Yeah, put the towers up at 67%.
Throw
put ours.
confetti over the top. I want somebody
Fireworks.
with a balloon, with one of those whizzes or whizzes,
yeah,
or whatever they're called.
We'll see what our creative people can do,
Yeah.
and lots of loud boast music. That is a big boasting week for us, and I've got to say that I did say at our sales meeting to our team, congratulations, they all worked hard to make that happen. Phil, it doesn't happen by chance.
It does
It's
not.
not by
It does
coincidence.
not. And keep in mind, viewers, we're across, I don't know, about 15 suburbs.
Yeah, we are.
Price ranges from
250 to 4
$250
million.
to $4 million.
Yep.
So the reality is that we covered a big territory. We covered a lot of different product types, and to get 25 out of 25, we are absolutely so stoked and proud of our team, because that no one does that from that sort of volume.
No, they don't, Phil, and it was extraordinary. So no one else could claim that result, I wouldn't think. And we've just had a sale this morning, a big one in Murrumbidgee.
Yes,
we won't say too much about it.
Keep that one under wraps,
that
Gary.
one
but
just a quiet
who would
one.
have ever thought we would be making sales in Murrumbidgee between
Circa.
$3 and
Yeah,
$4 million?
that's right.
Gary.
Between 3 and 4
Much
million.
closer to 4 than it was to 3, just for the record.
Unbelievable things going on with Christian De Vries, one of our experts of Murrumbidgee, who's joined our team. So shout out and well done to Christian on that one. Phil, so much going on. Exciting time of year. People are starting to move now in terms of getting things happening. We are also doing twilight auctions now.
Yes.
We're doing midweek auctions now. It's an exciting time. The sun. How good's the weather been, by the way?
It's been spectacular.
Just fantastic.
And keep in mind that we're about to have daylight savings.
Yes.
I can't remember the date, but it's
That's this weekend, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, one of my
Really?
favourite things is to put it to people. This is what I like to do, and it's become a bit of a family joke. That if you did not adjust your clock and you turned up to an auction this weekend,
Yes.
would you have missed it, or would you have got there early?
Okay. Well, Gary, I think I know
Don't try to answer. I'm going to leave it to the viewers.
Is there a little prize?
Yeah,
Little
I think we give
prize?
some tickets, some movie tickets. People think about it, because I have confused people like out of our home. You know, Nina's boyfriend said the other day, he's now sort of wandering around the streets wondering what the hell happened to him. People are stunned. They don't know the
What's that
answer. They
got
can't work it out.
Why would Nina's boyfriend
Because I've asked
be
him this question.
stunned
Because
walking
I've asked
around
this
the
question,
streets?
and I throw a few things in, and people can't quite work it out. But anyway, let's see if you can work it
He
out.
struck me as being quite bright.
He
but
is,
is
a lot of
is this
plenty
your
of bright
opportunity?
people. No, he is bright,
in
Phil.
public to
But
say
not at all. He is a bright young man, but lots of bright people have been stumped by this
but
one.
he's,
Phil.
he's walking around Caulfield at the moment stunned.
I've caught him out with this one question, and I've caught a lot of people out. It's been the fall of many a young man, Phil, this question, and it's almost like
Sounds like a son. The fall of many
got-
a young man.
but
Kenny Rogers, maybe.
No, it wasn't. It was the House of the Rising Sun, Phil, which was the easy. Was it the Easy Beats? I'll come to me.
on,
I think
can
so.
you keep
Anyway,
moving the
okay,
show
we're
along?
going to talk about real estate, aren't we? I keep
Yeah.
forgetting. Anyway, we did have a thumping weekend. Well done to
25
everybody
out of
involved.
25.
100%.
You haven't been paying
attention. We're a little bit more than just a little bit excited. Phil, let's review some of our sales, shall we, as we go along through.
let's
and
do that.
Look, we continue, Phil, to do very well every time we sell a property in Armidale, Paran, Malvern,
you're
Malvern
gonna talk
East,
about that lovely
South
Armidale
Yarra,
sale?
and, I don't want to be unfair and call out the agent, but 16 Armidale Street, Phil, was for sale for quite some time. It wasn't sold by the agent who had their opportunity to do so, and I'm sure they did their best, But, Phil, it took the team from Gary Pew & Associates to come on in, auction it, sold on the weekend for $2,750,000, Philip, with 3 bidders and a fourth one there who probably didn't get a chance to put their hand up. So congratulations.
A lovely thing happened to me at that Armidale auction because I thought my spiel was pretty good.
Yep.
And
It was pretty good.
Yeah, and
he was the auctioneer.
There was a large crowd of people, probably about 100 people, and you see, when you're doing an auction because you're scanning the crowd, you can kind of temperature test the reaction
audience.
reaction you're getting from the audience, because they're either engaged or they're unengaged.
I like the watch checker. You know, the person that's the watch checker.
yeah.
There's always a timekeeper of the auction. You know,
Yeah.
You start the auction a few minutes late. Someone has a question, or the vendor can't be found, or someone comes late, and there's always the auction timekeeper.
Yes.
And they make a deal. You know,
never ever in the history of watch checking has the watch checker ever bid.
No, the watch checker doesn't bid. The watch checker doesn't bid or participate. Often a neighbour or somebody that just happens to be just wandering around with not much to do.
Aimlessly.
But let me tell you, that watch checker, the timekeeper, the auction timekeeper, waits for no auctioneer, man or woman.
I'm not sure this auction was late, so we've gone off on another tangent.
Yeah, I know.
But you know, I'm doing a temperature test of the crowd, and
there's a scala there.
And there's a scala. There's a scala.
We love the scala.
We've got watch checkers and
scalas. We should do a sort of a list of auction attendees and give them, because they all rate us, and we're going to rate you, the auction attendees. We're going to start rating you.
Correct. I should have said to the scala, I'm giving you 3 out of 10.
Exactly right. As far as your participation in this auction, your attitude towards it, it's really not acceptable.
Correct.
We should start doing that now. Could you imagine? At the end of our career,
after the auction,
yeah.
had a number of people come up to me and say, such a good auction.
I know.
Really
A
enjoyed it.
lot of good feedback.
You did a great job. If I'm ever selling my house, I'm going to use you. Well, not the scala guy.
And the watchkeeper, the timekeeper, I don't think they would have been too happy.
Scala,
yeah.
Of course, they never have the courage to say anything.
No, they might online.
Right, that's right. From a different
name,
address, a trolling address.
Yeah,
anyway, the scala says to Matt Morley, he was atrocious, he was rude, he was arrogant. I would never use that person to sell my house. So the good news is, Scala, that there were 5 people that would use us, and you wouldn't.
So let's have a think about, would you rather please the Scala and disappointed the others?
Bit of a question.
Or please the others, disappointed the Scala? You know, it's part of life, Phil. Not everybody loves you. And in fact, as time goes on, there's less and less people out there that love you or me. Real estate agents, we aren't the most loved people. I can't understand why. I don't understand it. You know, we are out there in the community, lighthearted, trying to please.
I would say to all of those people that misunderstand real estate agents, come and spend a weekend with either Gary or I and get a snapshot view of our life. And I think most people, after they've spent some time or either with us through the selling process or spending a bit of time, understand that we are caring, sharing, hardworking, driven, lots of other adjectives I could use, but we're super people.
It's not all beer and skittles on this side of the fence, Phil. It is a tough job, but we love it. We wouldn't want to do anything else. And, you know, every community, funnily enough, every sporting community or charity, there's always a real estate agent giving, isn't there, to them?
There is.
You know, this is not a big pump up
of course,
our own
the Scala and the cynics would say we only give
because we're going to get some
we're going to get back.
Yeah, exactly right.
Bit of truth to that, of
course.
course.
Yeah, of course, it is true. Not entirely wrong. Anyway, thanks for the Scala coming along. We love you colouring our day.
Checker.
And the watch checker and the Scala. We're going to remember you. And perhaps in more weeks, we can start addressing a few more. There's someone that called us for comment, and they've got a website, Phil, and the website's like, I hate real estate agents. And there's like 1 million subscribers. So anyway, it's obviously popular to hate real estate agents out there, Phil. Who would have thought? We're just going to keep on doing our job and doing the best we can.
Interestingly though, Gary, just to put a lid on this finally, right? Most people do have a fairly negative view of real estate agencies. Now, real estate agents, and it's a bit of a popular myth in many ways. The thing that I always find interesting is that when we have a first-time seller, and we've gone through the whole process from listing to being on the market to selling to settling, invariably that person is in awe of the level of work, expertise, energy, processes that their agent goes through.
Resources.
And I think it's only when you've been on the sell side of a transaction does the consumer actually have an understanding of the length and the difficulties and the depth and the process and the work that goes into it. So, of course, that's the segue to say, should you be thinking of selling and want to change your perception about real estate agents, we're up for the task.
We've got 25 less properties for sale after the weekend, just so happens to be. Anyway, that's enough sales talk, Philip. A few people have probably just switched off now. We've just gone to vomit in the toilet, hearing all of our, our self-promoting talk. But look, we do love the business that we're in, and we hope that your real estate experience is a positive one. And if we can do that for you, even better. Phil, Armadale Street was sold, 4 bidders there, so that was great. We also had a great sale in Olinda Street, Phil, which was
We did.
one of your auctions. Tell us a little bit.
First of
Prices
all,
undisclosed.
I want to shout out to the two owners of that property,
Yep.
Sonia and Vera. If you happen to be watching this show, you are the two of the most delightful people I've worked with all year.
Thank you.
Peter, who was helping them manage the process, Peter was fabulous as well. So shout out for them. We had a great result there, sold it well in excess of the reserve price, Gary. But it was quite emotional, family property. You know, when you've had a property in the same hands for, decades, letting go is often difficult.
The price was in the high ones there, Philip, and suffice to say it was hugely popular.
Well,
and
it was
exceeded
sold
that.
for more than that, Gary.
It was, and not all of them were. Some was, a lot of properties sold within our range. One even sold under the range. Phil. It happens sometimes. Simon Bodolnik, I know he did a terrific auction, and he was heckled. He was actually heckled, and I think he handled it pretty well. And
Were you
heckling,
there?
I wasn't
Was
there.
it you that was heckling?
Could have been, Phil. Don't give away all of our secrets, but I think it was the one in Pascoe Street.
Try and look up at the camera.
Yeah, but I
when
need to
you're
get the
talking.
address right, Phil. So, 14 Pascoe Avenue, Bentley. So well done to Simon Bodolnik.
And what reason was he heckled, Gary?
There was just a person there putting in very low incrementals.
It wasn't a
low
scowler
increments of biddings.
wasn't the
scowler.
clock checker?
No. So we've now got in the crowd scowlers, time checkers, and hecklers. That's what we have to face every weekend, and loving it, to use a Maxwell Smart term. Anyway, well done to Simon Bodolnik. Field 2 at 468 Kooyong Road. Well, somebody just came on the day.
Two people, Gary.
Yeah, two people came on the day. So well done to Kane at Nissenbaum from our sales team, one of our young rising stars,
Yes.
Phil. Well done to him because he was involved in the sale of that property and he loved every minute of it. 5 Gun Street, Murrumbina. Well, we do so well in Murrumbina. Jack Slater handled this property and it was sold for $1,513,000 within our range, Phil. And I know Lee or Samuel loved auctioning that. Derby Crescent, Phil, a property that you sold, didn't get to auction, sold beforehand. Tell us a bit about that property, though.
We had a lovely family that moved interstate, moved to Mullumbimby, of all places, Gary.
Mullumbimby,
very cool place, very lovely place. In which
a lot of Bob Marley played there in Mullumbimby.
Well,
a lot of Bob Marley.
There is. And often you can smell smoke and it's not the garden, it's not the barbecue variety.
No, and there's no fire.
That's
thankfully.
But lovely family that we sold for, reluctantly let go of the house that they absolutely cherished. But I think we've sold it to an equally lovely couple that are going to be moving in there.
We had another sale in Derby Crescent, also went before auction,
Yes.
didn't even get to see the light of day.
Quietly
A beautiful unit. So a great spot there. And of course, you've mentioned it, and we've said many times, that whole Caulfield East precinct, Phil.
Yes.
That wonderful supermarket opposite the racecourse, the plans for the racecourse. We
Yes.
have a lot of clients, Phil, that we sell for and deal with who are involved in the races. So all
But
of those
also,
losses.
since the rail line overpass and the bypassing of the level crossings, it's just made that whole area so much more accessible. And keep in mind that East Caulfield Shopping Centre is also underpinned not only by the Racecourse Shopping Centre, but it's underpinned by Koonang Road, which is a gentle stroll. You've got Monash University. You've got so much going on. We love East Caulfield.
We sure do. And of course, once you walk through, I think I mentioned I did that walk through Koonang Road. What a buzzing place that is.
Buzzing.
Loving it. Anyway, Phil, that was sold, so well done again on that one. Phil, on Sunday, I know Leo Samuel had the pleasure of auctioning a property in Wilk Street in Caulfield North. That wonderful, it used to be the Alma Club, Phil.
Yes.
But that was sold.
Nice development too.
I love that development.
Beautiful.
Sold within its range, 1.1 to 1.2 was suggested. It sold for $1,183,000 just in the upper end within the range, Phil. I had some fun selling Cambrook Road, Phil, on Sunday morning. Went particularly well. I was suggesting in the low ones there. There was great competition for it with 3 strong bidders. And apartments, Phil, are still selling well. 6 at 51 Khartoum Street, particularly established apartments.
That was a lovely apartment.
That was a really nice apartment, sold for $665. And we had a teary buyer, Philip, because when we sold it, the young lady who bought it was very emotional, was very teary, and I love seeing that. I love seeing people passionate about their real estate and their purchasing, Phil.
Well, if you think about it, because we've both bought houses through the auction process, you've got this build-up of emotion that starts really from the moment that you've decided, yep, this is the one, and then heading into the weekend of the auction, the week heading up to the auction weekend, you're starting to become nervous and anxious. And then if it's a Sunday auction, you've got to wait through all of Saturday seeing the auction results. So by the time the auction does come around, there is a lot of pent-up emotion.
It's a highly emotive
and
time.
I think that if there's one thing that we always need to remember is that the sale and purchase of real estate, it is a very emotive time.
And stressful.
And
Yeah,
stressful.
stressful to a great degree.
The more we can do
to alleviate the stress.
alleviate that, the better.
Yeah. Anyway, great. Well done to that buyer who was very, very excited and had somebody with her bidding. I think it was a father or uncle or friend, and she was like, "Oh, thank God he was here because I just couldn't have done it." So well done. That's a big weekend, Phil, of properties, and usually we would be reviewing all of the auctions we have for the weekend upcoming. But the reality is, Phil, we don't have any upcoming.
No auctions, Gary.
Grand
We've got
final weekend.
an opportunity to take a little bit of a deep breath.
Not too much.
We've obviously got the public holiday on Friday.
Yeah, I actually forgot about that.
And imagine if there had been a public holiday on Friday for the grand final, if it had been Brisbane and the Giants.
Oh, wouldn't that have been a joke? Yeah,
that would have been somewhat embarrassing for the state's leaders, I would have thought.
It's a point away from happening, 2 points away.
But at the end of the day, it's a holiday on Friday for us to rejoice this incredible game of football and all it does for the community. And then the weekend, a quiet weekend of no auctions. But we will be back powering with a big weekend following.
Oh, yeah, Phil. We've got some big weeks coming up. It's got some beautiful properties coming through.
We do.
And then we've got the not the grand final, the racing. The Melbourne Cup
Gary,
weekend
I said
off.
in a meeting yesterday that with one of the team that I work with that after this weekend, there is 10 weekends to go before the second weekend of December. We'll probably go into the third weekend, but you take the Melbourne Cup weekend out of that, only 10 weeks to go. So viewers, if you're thinking about selling a property, regardless if it's a one-bedroom apartment or a multi-million-dollar mansion, if you haven't appointed us yet, you need to do so urgently because the year's almost over.
Get your roller skates on and get moving fast. Phil, we've got a few properties to review that aren't really coming up this weekend, but they are forthcoming and they are exceptional properties.
Yes.
One of those is 55B Bundeera Road in Caulfield South. I don't think they make them any better looking than this one, Phil.
Gary,
this
that is
great
about
property.
as good as it gets. The most fabulous town residence, although I describe this as just a luxury home because it has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a lock-up garage, a swimming pool, every conceivable luxury that opens and shuts, and north-facing at the rear. So there's everything to love about that and more.
That is fantastic. Phil, we just had the launch and the start of a property that's been brought to the market, and I think it's the first time in a long, well, I know it's the first time in many, many decades, Philip. This is the home at 14 Ontario Street, and this is a great looking
Gary,
property.
almost 800 square metres of prime land, and Ontario is one of the best streets of that location. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, undercover parking for 2 cars, a swimming pool, solid brick home, beautifully built. You can move straight in, you can further update it subject to council approval. That is an absolute beauty.
A special home in the Golden Mile.
And going from one special home to another special home, Gary, check out number 9A Lyndoch Avenue. If you want to see the incredible family facilities, go online, have a look at our video. You will see me in the back garden, jumping for joy in the back garden.
Yes, I don't know about that. I'm not sure if I love that.
Well,
it's innovative.
The vendors liked it, Gary, and I'm a man that wants to appeal to our vendors. The vendors loved it. 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, double lock-up garage. This is the most exquisite house. A shout out to the vendors who, it's funny, I went through to do the video and I said, is this the way you normally live? And she said, absolutely, we haven't cleaned up for you. They love their house. They've looked after it beautifully. It is a stunning home. And Lyndoch Avenue, Gary, is one of the best streets of Eastern Kildare and Caulfield North, because it's kind of just across the road from Caulfield North. One of the best parts about this property, of which there are many things to celebrate, there is a gate in the back fence that takes you into Chattersley, which is a no-through road. So Lyndoch's a no-through road, but behind you have Chattersley Avenue. So if you wanted to say walk to Carlisle Street,
little pedestrian,
or walk to North Caulfield, just open up your back gate, down into Chattersley, and you're in Balaclava Road. So bit of a secret there. Love that house.
Love that house, Phil. And I think the auction scouler would have watched you on that trampoline and just hoped, with some slim chance, that possibly you might have just misplaced a foot, maybe broken your neck or fallen off the side.
I'm not sure the scouler was that sort of person,
I
but
think so.
scowlers can have evil thoughts.
They can be very dark, the auction scowlers, can't they? Anyway, Phil, that's a big wrap on this week's September and last September edition, because we're in October next. It's running away from us, Phil. As before our very eyes, the year's just running, like Kathy Freeman, just going fast, Phil. And that is a big wrap on this edition of GPTV. We'll look forward to seeing you next week on Tuesday. I'm Gary Pearce.
I'm Philip Kingston. Thanks for watching.